Considering the amount of time we have together, we've reached a point in our project where we've done everything we can with the timeline. Now it's time to introduce you to ActionScript, the built-in scripting language to Flash, and be able to take your project to the next level. We're only going to cover a brief smattering of ActionScript, just enough to introduce you to the interface elements and give you a little bit of experience writing your own scripts. But there are other lynda.com titles, here and on the way, about ActionScript and ActionScript-related issues. So when you're ready, you can come back and go on to additional titles and increase your knowledge. We've already seen a little bit of ActionScript. In fact, we've already written a script or two ourselves, using the stop action to temporarily control our navigation. But because we skipped it earlier on in the course, I want to give you a brief introduction to some of the interface elements that are ActionScript related. The first is the Actions panel, so let's go up to the Window menu and pull down Actions. And this is where you're going to be spending most of your time as you script inside the Flash user interface. This center white area is where you're going to be typing your scripts. Over here on the left is a guide to all the ActionScript available, no matter what version of ActionScript you're using. We're going to be focusing on ActionScript 3, but you could also choose to work in ActionScript 1 and 2, or even Flash Lite if you're going to be developing for mobile devices later on. Down here in the lower left corner is a quick guide as to where your script resides. So in this case, it shows that I can be scripting into Layer 1, Frame 1 of Scene 1, and you can see various movie clips or components or other elements that are available as you select them and work with them. At the top of the main scripting area is a row of tools that we'll be looking at in context as we go through our various exercises. Here in the very far upper right is a menu that will give you access to a few features that are script related. We're going to focus on a couple right here now. One is the ability to display line numbers, which is very handy to have, and you may want to enable that if it's currently disabled. And the second is the ability to wrap the scripts so that they will show inside this area and scroll when they exceed the width of the available window. That too is a nice thing to have. And then finally down here is the Preferences option, and this will conveniently launch the Flash Preferences interface and take you right to the ActionScript area. While we're here, we'll take a look at a couple of quick and very basic features. One is the font that you can display your script in and the corresponding size, of course, and the ability to automatically indent when your code structure requires it. We'll take a look at that later on. And then down here, there are a variety of color coding options that will color certain logical structures within ActionScript, like your keywords or your main commands and so on will be in blue, the strings that you write will be in green, the comments that you write will be in gray, etc. So as you get more comfortable with ActionScript, and in fact, even as you see some of the exercises that we're working through, you may want to revisit this preferences screen and set some of these up for yourself. All right, let's go back to the Actions panel again. Here at the far right of the toolbar across the script area is an option called Script Assist. This is essentially an interface-driven way of writing scripts. You're probably not going to use this too much when focusing on ActionScript 3 because of the relative complexities of the language, but it does work, and you may occasionally reference it for quick syntax checks or even when you're using ActionScript 1 or 2. So I just want to give you a very brief look at how it works. In a nutshell, this feature de-emphasizes the idea of writing the scripts out yourself and instead guides you with a user interface that helps with parameters and other syntactical issues that any specific script might need. If you know enough about the way the language is organized, you can come over here and directly visit a package and look at some of the items inside that package. If we wanted to, for example, cause a movie clip to go to a specific frame, we could open up Movie Clip, go to our methods, and then see that we have the ability to go to and play. So we could double-click to choose that option, and it would place that information into the script area and then give us this guided interface. With this little bit of help, you can then say, okay, the object that I want to go to and play is my movie clip, and I want it to visit a frame, and I want to visit a frame by name. So you could type in a frame label. And if you had a scene, you could also input which scene you wanted to visit. So now we've written out the script using our user interface instead of having to remember this case by case. Now, this is of limited use if you don't know enough about the language to poke around, although there is an item at the very end of this list, which is an index. This is an alphabetical listing of script elements available to you, so you can scroll through and look at what you need to look at. So we're not going to be using Script Assist in this particular course, but I did want to give you an idea that it's there. Again, one of the uses that some people rely on is if you just need to remember some of the syntactical rules that you have to follow, you can select a script that you're writing in progress, and as long long as there are no overt errors, you can quickly switch over to Script Assist and see if the user interface jogs your memory. But in our course and in our case, we're going to be writing out the scripts as we go. So let's disable this and let's clear out this script and go back to our main interface. The last thing I want to show you in this video is the output panel. This is nothing more than a text output device, a panel in which text will be written when you request it in your scripting. And it also shows you some information such as compile time errors and other things that show up in this panel. So it's just a good idea to know what it is so that when we employ it in our scripting exercises and it pops up, you have an idea of what it does. When you are tracking a lot of information in the output window, or if you want to save particular output results, you can go up here, the menu in the upper right corner, and actually choose to save to file or print and so on. So every once in a while you may want to archive what you've accumulated in the output window. That lets you do it. So we'll see this in action, and we'll of course use all of the elements we've tried to introduce to you briefly here, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview, and now we're ready to move on.